Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Capricorn energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Capricorn. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Capricorn. We've all got our dualistic nature of free will, and we have to make decisions in our life. And we have our more hopeful, believing nature. And we might like to do some things differently, but sometimes that's scary and difficult, and gotta make some difficult decisions. So we kind of battle within ourselves. So some people might be kind of battling within themselves and kind of trying to debate. While some people are debating within themselves, other people have chosen a path and they're harnessing a more high vibrational Capricorn energy than they did before. They worked through some of their fears, their insecurities, their comfort zone to move forward in life differently. So everybody's at different places. Life's about learning lessons. Shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil, which is just our shadow nature. We all have fear and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs and past pain and heartbreak and things like that. And we learn lessons over time. And sometimes we get ourselves in more mismatched relationships where there could be things that we've worked through that don't manipulate us like they used to. Other people we might know, those things still more manipulate them. Everybody can have their different emotional maturity levels. And so you, in relationship to some other people, you could view some people as maybe more shadowy. Those people in turn could view people in their life as a little bit more shadowy. And, we're kind of trying to find people who kind of seem to be on the same page as we are at the same time. So, I'm trying to decide which one to do first. Well, let's look at the bottom row. In the bottom row, we have the Fool card, which can just talk about the fact that we do go on these journeys in life to learn lessons, and some of us have already went through some phases of life and some life experiences, and we kind of repeat certain patterns until at the end here with the Hangman, we're enlightened to the truth. Oh, and we kind of realize what we were meant to learn from that whole life experience and that phase of life anyway. And we kind of realize that I kind of have learned everything I needed to learn from that phase of life. And then in the top row is the Strength card, where we kind of temper our fears and our insecurities. There could be a part of us that would kind of like to stay in our comfort zone and keep living our life a certain way. But with the Seven of Swords and the Hangman, we could realize that it's more out of our fear and our insecurities of facing our fears to move forward in life differently, that we would keep doing it. And then high vibe people don't like to feel like they're more being manipulated by those things. And then they could have other people in their life that are continuing to live their life that way, and they want you to hang out with them and stay in relationship with them or stay at a certain job. But there's things about it that you have come to realize as more time goes by that, you're kind of ready to move forward in life differently. So then you take this leap of faith to temper your kind of wanting to stay in your comfort zone and to face your fears to move forward in life differently. So I guess we're going to kind of jump back and forth. So then we go up to the top row, and the Six of Pentacles can kind of talk about our philosophy of life. And then we have the Three of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. At any point in our life, we're kind of operating from a certain foundational way of viewing life. And that kind of dictates kind of the decisions that we make, which the Six of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which is kind of about our philosophy of life. And as we go through life, we could kind of realize that I'm kind of ready to let go. The Six of Pentacles can talk about, I used to operate from this Three of Pentacles, but now I'm going to operate from that Three of Pentacles. And it's just kind of these different stages. We did it. We went from age 15 foundation to an age 18-year-old foundation to an age 21-year-old foundation. It's continuing to detach from old foundations and ways of thinking and believing and perceiving ourselves in the world and kind of what we think is just and fair in relationships, say. And, we keep learning these lessons in life. And in high vibe, the strength card is about tempering your more egoic nature to be willing to learn lessons. I can keep repeating the same old pattern over and over, but at what point do I kind of feel like that I am doing it maybe more out of fear and insecurity and ego? So we get inspired. The Six of Pentacles also talks about getting more balance within ourselves. We can all go into a phase of life and we can be more balanced. This seems just and fair. This is where I'm at. Let's do life like this. But then as time goes by, we could kind of get more tipped out of balance. And the longer we stay in something where our intuition is kind of telling us, we've kind of learned everything here. It's time to move forward in life a little differently. Kind of look at what kind of has us tipped out of balance, because the bottom row, we could have started out in something, but then our intuition is telling us to move forward in life a little differently. Then we kind of got to work through our fears and insecurities about moving forward in life differently. And we could see that, our fear or our defensiveness or wanting to stay in our comfort zone kind of tips us out of balance. So we have to do that work within ourselves, and we have to be inspired. Both Aries and Leo energy, or fire sign energy, we have to be inspired to even want to get more balance. When we feel like things have gotten tipped out of balance a little bit, to be inspired to even want to get more in balance. And that does kind of take work and effort. Both Taurus and Earth and Capricorn are earth sign energies. You have to put work and effort to just even get more balance back within yourself. If you've kind of let some things kind of take more precedent in your life than you like, and it doesn't seem like your life is more balanced, you have to be inspired to want to deal with the truth. Leo is also represented by the sun energy. You have to be willing to be illuminated to the truth. And there's some people who don't want to deal with the truth, and some people like being more out of balance. They could like to be in more imbalanced relationships, maybe more codependent relationships, more fearful or something, right? And they could be okay with living their life like that. And initially, we could have enjoyed hanging out with certain people, doing certain things, and then we could start to see how it kind of tips our life out of balance, right? And then it's like, wait a minute, you know. So we put in this work and effort to get more balance within ourselves and kind of temper our ego and our fears and our insecurities. And we kind of look at what were some of the things that tipped me out of balance. What within myself, my own fears, insecurities, things like that. What about people I was kind of hanging out with and aligning with, or the job I was at, whatever it is. And I need to kind of get more balance, and I need to I don't like getting tipped out of balance. I don't like being in more imbalanced, mismatched relationships, or more codependent or shadowy, where it just doesn't seem just and fair. It might seem a little hurtful or disrespectful, or feel like you're being manipulated. I can't change other people, and I need to figure out what it was within me that could have made me keep indulging that, right? And you could be a very strong, loving, and encouraging person, but sometimes we don't want to listen to our intuition when our intuition tells us you need to quit. It's one thing to offer people love and encouragement, but then those people have to do work within themselves to do whatever work they need to do within themselves to kind of be in that self-sufficient, in that energy within themselves. And there's some people who's like, well, no, that's why I'm in a relationship with you. You provide that for me. I like that. That works. And it's like, yeah, but I can't give. I'm capable of it. I might be a very loving, giving person. Know to fill my own cup emotionally. I'm like a bottomless cup. I can give and give. But I don't want to give and give. I want to be in a more balance where I give, you give, and there's more equal give and take. And we can start to realize that, some people were taking and we were giving. So they look at the things that they might need to, in their way of thinking and viewing themselves, viewing others, how they interact with people in relationships, maybe how they could tend to get in more imbalanced relationships, whatever it is, and to free themselves from some of those things within themselves that can get them drawn into those relationships. Because kind of more shadowy people are always going to exist in the world, and we need to figure out what it is within me that kind of gets me drawn into it. And if there's ways of viewing myself, ways of viewing others, way of viewing relationships or something, in my philosophy of life, there was something, and it could have been, just normal human being nature. If we put work and effort into something, it can just be hard to let go, and it can be a little bit of our ego that, well, I've kind of put this work and effort into it. I hate to give up on it. And I also could have some fear about taking a leap of faith to go do something different or go get a new job, new friend, whatever. And we have to work through all of those things. But, shadowy energy, shadowy Capricorn, the devil, it's kind of like also the devil in tarot looks just like the Lover's card, except that the people have chains and shackles on them. So it can look like love, it can feel like love, but the devil is about things that try to limit us, oppress us, confine us, restrict us, and imprison us. And sometimes it's just our own philosophy of life and kind of these unspoken rules and regulations in our head, things that we could have been brought up with, or Uncle Bob or Aunt Sally said maybe about us or about how we should view the world. And sometimes we got to question all, because since Taurus kind of are like all these unwritten rules in our head that influence the decisions we make in life, and like who we do work together with in a relationship, why we could kind of be more drawn and attracted to certain people than other people. Sometimes we got to sit down and question, what is my actual truth and philosophy of life? Why do I think these certain things? It's kind of interesting when you kind of look at the world and people who can live in different cities, different states, different countries, and people in different religions and all that, of how different their philosophy of life is and what's good and bad and right and wrong. And it can be in Taurus, being earth sign energy, that we kind of let so many things of the world and man-made rules and regulations kind of influence us, and that can be a little shadowy and toxic, right? And high vibe energy is being more independent from a place of love, but I adhere to a higher truth and justice. And even though other people might be doing things and other people might think that's just and fair or admirable or encourage it, if my intuition is telling me this is unjust, this is unfair, this isn't right, it's kind of toxic, it's abusive, or something like that, it can look like love in the devil card, but it's restrictive and confining and maybe egotistical. And, who are the people who would want to keep doing things the same way instead of being willing to deal with the truth and do things differently? Probably more of the people who benefit from things staying the same way. But the people who it's kind of, they're the ones kind of being oppressed or restricted or limited, they don't think it's just and fair. And could they love that job? They just don't like the supervisor. They could love some people, but maybe they're kind of disrespectful or manipulative. It's like I can love people and I can just let them go live their life, and I don't really care to hang out with you that much. Maybe I'll see you at Christmas. Um, we have to decide, get really kind of clear about what is my truth, and maybe was I getting more caught up in the world, and or things I used to maybe indulge in to make myself feel better. If those things are stopping me from moving forward in life the way I want, I need to deal with the truth of it. If there's certain people I'm hanging out with that don't really seem to maybe have my best interest, or they want to repeat this certain pattern, but I kind of want to move forward in life a little differently and step out of my comfort zone, and they don't, well, then we're kind of on different pages. So from the Six of Pentacles down to the Three of Pentacles, it's kind of doing that work to work through your own issues and kind of realizing what kind of was making you repeat a certain pattern, and seeing how maybe that wasn't healthy or something, so that you can move forward in life differently. And then in the Five of Cups, we have to deal with the sadness that there could be some people in our life that we wish were moving forward with us, but those people aren't ready to move forward. And again, we're all ready to kind of do this work within ourselves and work through some of those issues that could manipulate us, from pride and ego, or being more manipulative or bossy or controlling, or just caught up in these things of the world. And we're all ready to kind of do that at different times. And we've had other people move on in life when we weren't ready to. And, with a lot of people, they wish you peace and love. You wish them peace and love. And it's not a problem. Hey, you go do you. Do I want to go do that? No, but you go. And I'm going to stay here. And we could have told other people that before too. You go. You go, girl. You go, boy. But I'm staying here. And with most people, it's not a big deal. It's just more challenging when it was someone where we thought they were going to go on this journey with us, but maybe they get a little bit more caught up in their head in the Seven of Swords, Aquarius energy, about maybe detaching from some things that they need to detach from. The Hangman talks about looking at life from a different perspective, expanding our perception of ourself and how we view the world and how we view others and how we view working together, like what we think is kind of just and fair maybe in relationships. And for some people, they're not ready for the truth. When we're ready to deal with the truth, and for some people, they could sometimes see the truth, but it really causes them a lot of mental conflict. And so then they kind of keep repeating an old pattern because they're not, for some people, seeing and dealing with some truths, when you're not, it can be kind of like someone trying to shove you out on the stage of your life when you're not ready to do that yet, and we can like to, with the Leo card, which can represent our more egoic nature, we can all kind of hide a little bit more behind our ego and our image and, how people view us, because we're not really more ready to be more authentically ourselves. And it be kind of like being pushed out on a stage naked in a way, because you don't know, feeling kind of defenseless because you haven't kind of learned these lessons to feel more comfortable just standing in your own truth, and it feels too vulnerable, right? But some other people kind of are ready, and some people aren't. And again, and then some people don't want to look at life differently. Shadowy energy can just be where people are a little bit more about themselves, a little bit more about the world, make their life more about their ego or their image, like to make it be more about them or more about those things, or things they like to indulge in to make themselves feel better. And until they're willing to deal with the truth of it, it's like, it can be like talking to a brick wall. I mean, we've all grown up. We've all had people in our life probably at different times saying, honey, why do you do that? And why do you hang around with those people? And why don't you love and believe in yourself? And blah, blah, blah. We are where we're at. And we've kind of all got to go on our journey of learning these lessons in life. And high vibe is we get out of our ego about it. We see the truth. If people were more ready to move forward, being more inspired to maybe temper their ego or their fear, or be more authentic, or be more loving, or work more cooperatively with people in a just and fair way, if they had learned those lessons, they would be that kind of person. And so it doesn't have anything to do with our worth and value and if we deserve love, or if, it's just to deal with the truth. If we've been trying to work together with people in a loving and encouraging and supportive way. And we kind of see that's not where they're at. Not to quit kind of chasing after people, trying to get them. No, 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 you got to see the truth. No, 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 you're not seeing things clearly. No, no, no. Don't you see all these things manipulate you? You know, when they're ready, they're ready. And when they're not, you know, again, Taurus energy can be our philosophy of life. People are the way they are, and they've done the debate within themselves. They live their life the way they live it. They view life the way they view it. They treat people the way they treat people, because they have decided it is just and fair in their mind. And until they go through some life experiences, they know the information is out there. They've probably also had other people in their life, just like we did at different times in our life. But, we all got to go on these journeys, and we're all on our own journey. And some things that some people might have kind of seen the truth of quite quickly. Oh, makes me think of that poem they talk about. Everything I needed to learn, I learned in kindergarten. You should share. You should treat other people the way you like to be treated. Well, some people have a harder time with looking at life from that perspective. And they kind of might be Aries energy is about the self. Other people harness a more high vibrational Aries of self where they've grown and matured themselves, learn to temper their being more about themselves, and other people haven't. Aquarius, some people have looked at life from a higher perspective, are able to keep things in perspective. Some people don't look at life from a higher perspective, aren't able to keep things in perspective. Some people get all up in their head and their fear, and they don't know how to comfort themselves to kind of look at life differently. And other people have learned how to comfort themselves and soothe themselves, so they don't maybe take action more out of their fear and their insecurity or their defensiveness, but other people still are. And so we're sad that some of those relationships didn't work out. And, if some people do harness a more shadowy Taurus, Capricorn, and Scorpio, and Aquarius, and Leo, and Pisces, and Aries energy, they just might be more still caught up in the illusion of the world, or past pain and heartbreak, or being more about themselves. And some of them could just be more emotionally shallow and superficial, and they got some growing up to do. And that can be, all of those different things, or some of those things with different people in your life. And some people just don't know how to work cooperatively with people in a more loving way in a relationship. And you could just feel like they try to emotionally manipulate you, or emotionally manipulate your loving nature and the love that you have for them. And that's not love. The truth is, love is supposed to be just and fair. And if we're going to work together, that's kind of what the Eight of Pentacles talks about, looking to the future and moving something forward. Everybody has to be willing to put in work and effort. But some people have this idea well, I'm going to get you in the relationship, and you're someone who puts a lot of work and effort to make a relationship work. Oh, and then I'm going to hope that you don't see the truth that, I'm going to kind of be slack or lazy or indulgent in this relationship because you are someone who puts a lot of work and effort to make things victorious and successful and maybe nurturing and loving and balanced. And until, eventually you kind of start to see, wait a minute, I'm putting in this work and effort to make it work. And then I kind of realize that other people are still, I don't know, either more focused on themselves or these things of the world or other people. It takes both of us. Are we both fire sign energy motivated to put in work and effort in this relationship with equal give and take from love? And we can extend people grace and be loving and encouraging while people are going through difficult times. Capricorn is also represented by the Two of Pentacles. Sometimes we're the one who needs a little more encouragement and grace. Sometimes the other person is the one who needs a little more encouragement and grace. And we do that for each other. But some people want you to just keep juggling the truth that you be this loving and encouraging person, and I'm going to keep harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way where I have some unresolved issues from my past that caused me pain and heartbreak. I know I have an idea. I'm going to work with you because you're a loving, encouraging, supportive person, and then I want to keep moving forward with us in those same energies. And it's like, well, no, I'm a loving and encouraging person. For you to put in this work and effort to work through those issues, so in high vibe Capricorn, you can free yourself from those things manipulating you. And you have freed yourself. You have dealt with the truth. Virgo energy also is about dealing with the truth. And it takes work and effort. And you've got to look at those things that maybe before you didn't want to look at or wanted to not deal with. But if you don't want to look at them and you don't want to deal with them, then the other person is still wanting to operate more from their ego. I don't want to be illuminated to the truth. I don't want to deal with the truth. But it still impacts the decisions that they make in a relationship because it still manipulates them. And then you can move forward with people in a relationship, and then they can kind of do these hurtful or unkind or manipulative or controlling or immature things in a relationship. And it's like, why are you doing that? And it's like, well, I don't know why. Or it's just the way I am. And you should indulge me anyway. And it's like, you need to put some work and effort into those things in order for us to kind of keep moving forward. And some of those people, though, could know that, again, you're a loving and encouraging person, that you really probably don't want to move forward without them. That's kind of the difference between the Three of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles is the Five of Pentacles, which is also Taurus energy. I've put work and effort into something. I would like them to move forward with me, but I want them to be motivated and inspired to work together with me in truth and love and self-awareness and self-insight, and to heal from some of these issues from their past. And they're like, well, no, I just want to come with you, and I don't want to have to do that. And it kind of makes me think with the Pentacles here, things like this can happen in workplaces too. Well, a different job didn't work out. I'm looking to get another job. They go get another job. The people there are happy. Great. We got someone new to work here. And, they're trying to bring a dream into reality. And if they're loving and encouraging people, they offer love and encouragement to others. And again, just like getting into good relationships that people can get and supportive friendships, some people don't think they ever have to do this work within themselves. But then they could end up repeating some of the same patterns that they did at the old job, the old friendship, the old relationship. And for some reason, it's kind of more shadowy Pisces can be about having these illusions about what it means to work together with people. High vibe Capricorn, Three of Pentacles, working together with people. And some people have this illusion like, well, no, I don't really have to put in work and effort. And that can be where it almost seems like, people being a little full of themselves, maybe because of something they bring to, well, you're in a relationship with me, you should be happy. Oh, I have a certain status or image. You should want to stay in a relationship with me. Maybe I have money or status, or I'm attractive, or I'm charming, or, You have someone to have sex with. It's kind of like hoping people will settle for the minimum, because that's what some of these people give, is the minimum. If it's a job, some of those people might have certain qualifications and skills, and that can be nice to have, but are they really, does things stay stagnant where nothing ever changes, nothing ever moves forward? And just like relationships and jobs and things can change over time, some people can be resistant to that. And Scorpio energy is about a more deep, meaningful relationship. And some people don't really want to do a more deep, meaningful relationship. And then the people who do feel like, I feel like I'm in a more emotionally shallow, superficial relationship. Like I'm missing out on an opportunity of love. Can I love the people? Could I wish things were different? But I have to deal with the truth. They're not. And again, I can't change people. And eventually it's like, I have got to work with the people who it is more their just natural self inclination to want, like me, if that's the energy you're in, to work together with people more motivated and inspired by love, and to put, if it's a job, to put in work and effort, to feel proud of themselves that they put in work and effort, and they're invested in moving forward in it. And other people, like in jobs and relationships, it's like, well, I haven't quite decided yet. I'm kind of, you could look at the Six of Pentacles as kind of going back and forth. Like, I'm here and I'm kind of working here or in this friendship or relationship or job, but, I can't really decide. So again, it's kind of like putting in the bare minimum. It's like, I want to work with people who do want to work here. I do want to be in relationships with people who want to be in a relationship with me because they're inspired to work with me being more authentic and loving. And if that's not your truth and you haven't decided, I'm going to wish you peace, and I'm going to go work with the people who are willing to work with me, or I'm going to go communicate to the world I'm looking for new people to work with. Especially like if I'm an employer, right? And sometimes some people have this happen to them, but they don't want to see the truth. They repeated some poor past pattern that wasn't conducive to working together with people more cooperatively. They end up getting themselves in a little bit of a pickle of the hangman where they're kind of stuck, and they could have kept thinking, shadowy energy is trying to, you're either in high vibe Leo and Capricorn energy where you are being authentic. You are who you say you are. And if I didn't already say it, I view Capricorn as the King of Pentacles. You either are someone who has emotionally matured yourself, is someone who is a good person to employ, work with, go into business with, be in a relationship with, because you really are who you present yourself as being. You have learned these lessons in life. You are not more aligned with your more immature, self-indulgent, bossy, controlling, more prideful, defensive, manipulative nature. But there can always be people in the world who try to present themselves as being that type of person when they're not. And they have these unresolved issues they haven't dealt with. And other people eventually are illuminated to the truth, and the other people move on. These people don't want to deal with the truth. They want to stay in denial of the truth. And they think, I'll just go get in a different relationship, go find a different friend, go get a different job, and I'll repeat this whole process all over, hoping it'll turn out differently. And yeah, if they find people who are more like them, it can be hard in a job, but if it's a job where you don't, good enough is good enough, well, then that might be the job for them. If some people are willing to stay in a relationship with them because, putting in some work and effort could be better than what some other people had in other relationships. It's an improvement. Well, those people might stay in it until those people kind of start to think they deserve more, and then those people might move on. We can always put up with people at different emotional maturity levels, and we can deal with and be friends with and acquaintances and work with people on all different levels of the spectrum. And it's not a big deal. You just work with, people and deal with them as what they are. But, the people that you want to work with and invest more time and energy with, we can all have people that we know that we can socialize with or at work or whatever. But the people I really am going to invest more of my time and energy with are people who I kind of think are more insightful, mature, tempered, authentic, loving, nurturing. So let's go look at the bottom row. We have the Four of Cups, the Four of Wands, the Eight of Swords, the Ten of Cups, the Seven of Swords. We all have our more creative, inspired, loving energy, all the different zodiac signs that want us, our own hopeful, believing, loving nature, like the seeds of both, the knowledge of the tree of good and evil is planted within all of us. So even with the people, when we are more immature, some other people that are acting in life, whatever way they're acting, their hopeful, believing nature feels stuck. Because they're aligning with their more shadowy nature, and they wish they would see the truth. And then some hopeful, believing, loving people in their life kind of feel stuck because they would like to move forward with them, but they see the truth too, that they have these unresolved issues within them. And sometimes we have to see the truth that shadowy energy of the big picture, kind of represented by the devil, doesn't want us to give birth to something new, and it doesn't want us to align with our more hopeful, believing, loving nature at the big picture represented by God. That sometimes, if shadowy energy, shadowy people in shadowy energy, it's kind of like the devil wants to stop people from giving birth to new things. If the devil can't get you to repeat an old pattern and kind of drive your life off into the ditch, the devil might try to prey on some people in your life that you love. And if they can get them stuck and tangled up in a web, the devil can think it will keep you stuck. It's kind of like using the love that you have for people to keep you stuck. And high vibe energy is about being a good leader in the world. And if we know some people in our life that have these different things and people in their life and vices or whatever, we know they're probably going to learn some hard lessons because we've maybe already been there. And that's why we're not doing that. I've been there and done that. But they maybe haven't. So, they just got some lessons to learn in life. But it's really hard to get away from those things. We're kind of taking the easy way out, or we haven't learned to love ourselves. Learning to love yourself can be one of the hardest lessons. Getting balance within yourself, learning to be loving and encouraging to yourself. Some people, that's not how they view life. No, I get in relationships with people to love and encourage me. I don't have to do that work within myself. And they could stay stuck in a more codependent way of viewing relationships all their life. They could be more codependent on the world to validate their worth and value. They could make money or materialism how they define their worth and value and give that more precedence than love. And we have to see the truth of it. As long as they're kind of tangled up in that, our dream can't come into reality with them. And so we work through that to we, shadowy Aries, can be where we try to control things and we think we're the boss. We're not the boss. Everybody's on their own journey and has their own lessons to learn. And I think high vibe energy wants us to see the truth, temper our ego, wish people peace and love, can still be a loving, encouraging person in their life. But I'm going to keep moving forward, believing in myself and investing in my dreams. And if you want to keep doing that or living your life that way, you have the free will to do it. And the more I see that that is what you and your free will choice choose to do, the more I kind of see the truth that, you know, I might have been caught up in illusion about who you were and your philosophy of life. And I thought, you were more motivated and inspired by some of the same things I was, but I keep seeing that you're not. And then that kind of frees you to get more in relationship with people who are more on the same page as you. And while you're doing that, it also shows them, because they have things and people in their life that they could love. And if those people aren't going to move forward in life differently, they're not going to move forward in life differently. And it's like, well, if you want to keep waiting for those people to live life differently, because high vibe energy, again, is about being more independent, you're not willing to be more independent, well, then enjoy being stuck, aligning with certain people in your life that you're unwilling. And even if it doesn't have to be other people, it can be that they haven't learned to love themselves. They're in a mental prison about love, but they don't want to do the work it takes to work through their fear of love or being hurt. So they kind of maybe make their life more about these other things. Maybe getting in relationships with people who they think don't love themselves, who are in a mental prison, who are never going to go live life any differently. And even though it might not be more emotionally fulfilling life of my dreams, I'm not brave enough to really do love, so I will stay in a relationship more out of my fear and my insecurity and be in a relationship with other people, maybe in their fear and their insecurity, because neither one of us are willing to be more authentic and loving, and we both might feel stuck. But by worldly standards, this could look good. We kind of maybe look like shining stars in the world, and we look like we have what other people have. And then the truth is, some people are just deceptive and manipulative. They don't really want to temper their ego. They don't want to put in work and effort. They really are more about themselves, and it is all about them. And it's trying to find people who might be sad that some other relationship didn't work out, and then I'll try to present myself as someone that, Aquarius, represented by the star, that your dreams can come into reality with, and the people get in a relationship with them. And even when people could find out that, I don't know, there's something about this that doesn't quite seem right, it kind of seems like I might be more motivated and inspired by love, but I think this person might live more from their mind than their heart. They might be in it more for the ego or the image or the status, kind of a little bit more about indulging themselves in it for these reasons versus love. And then having people like this in the world gives people free will to decide, in the Eight of Swords, in their Gemini energy, what is their truth. I could stay in this. I could stay in this job, this friendship. By worldly standards, it might all look good. I just kind of feel like I'm being emotionally manipulated, that people aren't really wanting me to be more bold and brave and authentic and want me to more conform maybe to the world and act like this and dress like this and not really just live my more authentic life, and want me to live more from my mind. And this seems logical and practical. I should keep doing this and I should stay here. But we feel stuck. But we all have free will to manifest our life Are we bold and brave enough to live our truth, to not settle for illusion, not settle for things that seem kind of manipulative or deceptive or restrict, just where people aren't encouraging you to live your more authentic life because they don't want to live their more authentic life. And if they make their life more about these things of the world or whatever they make their life more about, they want you to make your life more about it. And it's like, I might have been willing to do that initially. And again, life is about coming into contact with all these different people to get more clear about what your truth is and your truth isn't. And that's when the high vibe people tell the people in their life, I love you, I want to work with you, but I want to move forward in this way. I think some things here, they need to change. Because I could feel unloved, I could feel like you're doing things that are kind of deceptive or manipulative, or I think you have these fears and insecurities, or you're prideful, or you're egotistical, or you're more about yourself, or you're kind of immature. If we're not willing to work on those things together, then like I wish you peace and you can go do that with someone else. And some people could be telling some people that. People in workplaces, people in friendships, people in families, people in romantic relationships. Other people have already done that and they're kind of working through, Scorpio in the Five of Cups talks about, we're these emotionally complex human beings and it can be kind of hard to work through all that. But we do. And then when we do that, we've kind of, and as we see how other people choose to live their life, that I don't think you are who you said you were. I don't think it's love that motivates you. I think it's more these other things, or you just got a lot of fear and insecurities you need to work through, and I'm moving on. And, when people are ready to do that, that's when they're ready to put in work and effort with the people in their life that they think are more on the same page as them. Whether those are the people that are currently, some of the people that are currently in their life could be those type of people that they want to keep investing in. But there could be other people in their life they don't want to keep investing in. And then there could be new people they want to communicate with and tell them, I do think you are someone I want to move forward with. And regardless of who's communicating with who, the high vibe people are willing to, kind of not be a negative force in the world in a way that if people were to approach you, just like you approaching other people that are more high vibe, people can be encouraging and supportive, but everybody's going to listen to their intuition. It can be great that some people who maybe didn't want to work with you before in some degree are now wanting to work with you, but is it just because what you went to go work on didn't work out? But if I already know you, and I've kind of already been illuminated to the truth about you and how you operate and what drives and motivates you, I might just wish you peace and happy that you saw something and saw some realization and kind of freed yourself from it. But I think there's a lot more things and you're not bringing it up. So maybe you only saw one thing, but there's really like 6 to 7 other things that I'm aware of that kind of manipulate you, but you only saw one thing. And it's like, no, all those other things would need to be seen also. And there's always going to be some people that are looking to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with a loving, nurturing, stable, grounded person. And some of those people are going to realize, oh shit, you kind of dealt with people like me before. I can't kind of manipulate you. And even if it's work people that kind of are a little dismissive, a little bossy, a little controlling, a little whatever, thinking they can manipulate you to indulge them in their kind of more shadowy ways of being. And you keep like, no, I see the truth that that's kind of the person you are. That's too bad. I would have liked to work together with you better at work, but I've dealt with all sorts of people. I will let you, needless, be the type of person you are here, but I'm going to focus more of my attention on my job and the people in the world who I might work with, who aren't a little more deceptive and manipulative, and they're like, oh, damn. Um, I guess that person has dealt with people like me before, and I can't manipulate them. Well, then, if there's people, say, in a family dynamic or a work relationship where they're used to trying to manipulate and control people and make people sad, confuse them, get them up in their head, be rejecting of them, be whatever these shadowy ways of being, thinking, loving people will kind of get in their ego about it, about why aren't you working with me cooperatively? And so then those people kind of chase after them a little bit. And that's when they're like, ha, gotcha. I guess this is the way we're going to do this relationship, that you're willing to kind of indulge me in my more shadowy ways of being. And some high vibe people right now are like, no. And some of the people realize that and they're like, shit. And they might try to, just like when we get out of relationships with people, if people were kind of deceptive, manipulative, hurtful, unkind, immature, took some foolish risks in a relationship, and the other people moved on, the deceptive people will try to confuse people about the truth to get those people to keep aligning with them. They don't want them to view the people who left as the more authentic, stable, grounded people, because they want them to view them that way, because that's really all they have to offer people, is this illusion about the type of person they are, their ego, their image, their status, their looks, their whatever, social clout. They don't really offer people truth and love. And so they don't want other people to view the people who left as just and fair and loving. And then they maybe play the poor, poor, pitiful me, so people will kind of indulge them in their ego. And people could do that for a long time, and some people are doing that right now. But the whole thing is, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And eventually some people that were like, really, you're saying that person was kind of the more image, really, they seemed really nice and all that, but it's like, huh, well, I have known you a long time. And so, I mean, not maybe really to pick sides, but, maybe also that person left. So, you're in my community or whatever, or, I work with you. Didn't even maybe really know that person much. All kind of, I don't really know the truth. But then over time, sometimes some people could have a certain status or image in the world. Um, and then they think, I can take these more foolish risks. Kind of reminds me of some things we've heard about in the newspapers of the rich and powerful kind of getting full of themselves, and more gets to be like an addiction and self-indulgence, that they take more and more risks thinking nobody will believe people, and I can do this, and I have this certain image in the world, or I have this certain power in the world, or influence in the world, or I'm in a relationship. Nobody would believe if I was in a relationship with these type of people that I would do this. And it's just like some people, it's a poor coping mechanism. And just like people can turn to drugs or alcohol to make themselves feel better and work through their fears or their ego or whatever, other people turn to these other things. And, it's not the answer, it's not the truth. And so then they indulge in it more and more and more, thinking that will be the answer. And they get themselves in a situation they wish they wouldn't have gotten themselves in. But they still could be too prideful to admit that they made a mistake, even if it isn't as big as some of the things we've read about in the newspaper. We can all have been more immature and foolish, not listened to our intuition, had fears, required us to step out of our comfort zone, required us to deal with some issues we maybe didn't even know we needed to deal with. And we could have repeated some poor past patterns. High vibe people tempered their ego. They work through the issues. When you work through the issues, the shame is gone. You communicate to other people. I got tangled up in this stuff and I got more, or I just was in my fear, or I didn't know how to love myself, or I rejected loving people, whatever. They tell people the truth. And because they tell people the truth, some of those people are willing to work with them again. Some people won't, because it's like, oh shit, I did want to work with you, but I wanted to work with you and you're still in that shadowy energy. Now that you've been illuminated to the truth, thank you for thinking I was someone who is more high vibe, but I'm really not. I just wanted to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you. Yeah, was I waiting for you maybe to get out of that relationship? Yeah, and then I was thinking I was going to get in a relationship with you. But then when you got out of it and you told me your truth, oh shit. You mean, well, I know that person was able to be deceptive and manipulative and kind of more about themselves and kind of immature. And I thought if you ever got out of it, that I would be the next person you'd kind of be stuck with. I didn't realize you were going to see through the whole illusion. you know? And, you tell other people your truth, and then some of those people can be sad because now you know the truth about people who are like that, and they're one of those people. You just kind of thought maybe they weren't, and maybe at one time they weren't, but they kind of drove their life off into the ditch. Other people could be sad, but they're already working with other people, and they wish you the best, and it's just a missed opportunity. We can only work with people who are working together with us, and sometimes when we make these different decisions, other people move on in different relationships. Some of the people we'd like to be in a relationship with are in a different relationship. We just don't let it make us feel stuck, like, oh my gosh, my dreams can't come into reality. No, I believe the divine has a plan for my life, and if people were meant to be the people I was meant to be in a relationship with, they would be available. And if they're not, I wish them peace, they wish me peace, and I keep moving on. And then we could realize that if we had taken some poor past action, we would have done some things we regret, so we don't, and we keep putting in work and effort, and then we could work with someone who really is someone who's more on the same page as us. High vibe, self-aware and high vibe Virgo, loving in Cancer, authentic and tempered in their ego in Leo energy. And those are the people that, the characteristics of some of the people, we're aligning with that energy within ourselves to be in alignment with people who are in that energy. And as you do that, some people are sad because they wanted to be in a relationship with you, but they're not in that energy. And the people who are in that energy, it's like their intuition tells them that you are that on the same page as them, and they're willing to work with you. What's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Capricorn energy that they might not see coming? The Seven of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Two of Pentacles. So because in your Capricorn energy, you are willing to do that work within yourself to get balance within yourself and pick up your investment in things you needed to pick up your investment from. I think it also helped tip you in favor because I view the sevens as tipping in favor of one way or the other. Maybe before you used to get up in your head or kind of do what more seemed logical and practical or more just fired up by these things of the world. But as through this life experience, you've kind of looked at life differently and the different relationships and things that you've been in. And now you are more motivated and inspired to make decisions in your life that just could be more balanced. Do I want these things of the world? Yes, but that's not the end all be all. And if I was a very loving, nurturing person, I've got to get more grounded within myself. It has to be balanced. There has to be a blend of both. You know, it has to be stability, security, truth, love, justice, fairness, kindness, compassion, authenticity, creativity. It's a nice blend of both. And that means it won't be a whole bunch of this or a whole bunch of that. You know, it's finding the right mix that's right for us and finding the right people who are kind of in that same mix. I don't know. One time I equated it to cookies, you know? You put in different ingredients to make the type of cookie that's your favorite cookie. And it's kind of manufacturing our life and creating our life. Well, I like 3 sprinkles of this and I like 2 sprinkles of that. And oh, if it's 4, that's like too much. Are you okay with 3? It's like, yep, I can do 3. And, you know, you just kind of negotiate all those things. So it is kind of a nice balance because I kind of also view the 2 of Pentacles when we work together with other people. They have their dream, you have your dream. You have your way of viewing life, they have their way of viewing life. And if we're going to work together, it has to be high vibe energy would be respecting each other as individuals. And you have your own unique talent, skills, interest, things that motivate and inspire you. They have theirs. We let each other be their own individual. But we work together for our common goal, but we let each other like be individuals. And there's other people in the world who don't like that. You know, they don't like to be in those kind of relationships. They could like it where we conform more to the world, or it's more about me, or we take action more out of our fear or insecurity or our lust or our greed. And that's just how they view life. And they'll probably keep living life that way. Could there be some people that you love that could be part of your family, or you wanted to be in a long-term relationship with them, regardless of if that's friendship or not? But you could have found out maybe their idea of the dream life or the dream family, what that, the ingredients of what that looks like. And they have their way of viewing that could be in their comfort zone, and they don't really look at life differently, and or it just could be more about them. Anyway, what's coming up for people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Capricorn energy that they might not see coming up? And oh, for the high vibe people, that there's probably going to be some people who maybe before had some concerns about working more cooperatively with people or dealing with some of their own issues in their life. And some of those people might tell you, or just by their actions, that they're ready to work with you maybe in a more balanced relationship and invest in wanting to work together with you. Okay, what's coming up for the more shadowy people that they don't see coming? Something to do with this card. And the reason it came out is because of the Ten of Swords and love. So the Ten of Swords and the Lover's card is Gemini energy, which is our dualistic nature. The truth is some people, they don't want to do love. And for those people who do love, that can be really hard. You can't even relate. It's like they are an alien. I don't understand it. But, and then there's some people in the world, because they haven't learned to love themselves and they have a lot of fears about maybe believing in themselves and believing in love, but because they maybe kind of don't want to deal with the truth of it, shadowy energy in shadowy Leo can be that you're more competitive energy, jealous energy. There's some people in the world that backstab people who are loving because they don't get it. They don't understand why you're not more in a mental prison than them. But instead of them doing this work within themselves to figure out why they have all these fears or insecurities, they could get the idea that it causes me it can cause them mental conflict seeing people kind of loving and believing in themselves, because it kind of gets them up in their head wondering why they live their life the way they do it. And then it's kind of like in shadowy hangman, I know, I have an idea, which is a completely kind of upside down way of thinking and logic and reasoning. But it could be, I'm going to do things that are hurtful and unkind to that person. And then I think it will get them out of that energy. And then basically you'll be in the same energy they are. Well, there, I guess we're in the same boat, aren't we? And then it's kind of this, it could be a way of feeling powerful, like they can control and manipulate other people and kind of write the story of their life. And it's a false sense of feeling powerful. The Leo Strength card would be about power. How do people try to feel powerful in the world? Some people have learned to work together with people in truth and love. That's true power. Tempering your ego enough to work cooperatively with people from love. But some people are like, I could do that, but I think I'm so smart. I think though they could just think those people are weak and immature. And they could view their own loving nature as their more weak, immature nature. People can just manipulate you and control you and hurt you if you do love. And for me to feel powerful, I'm going to do these hurtful and unkind things and rejecting things to these loving people to show that I'm the boss. That's like shadowy Aries energy. I want to show people that I'm the boss, and that maybe if you don't do things the way I want, or you don't indulge me in my ego, or let me manipulate and control you, your dreams aren't going to come into reality. And then people are really confused, like, why is this person acting like this? And why is this person being so hurtful and unkind to me out in the world when I didn't do anything to them? Part of it is just because they don't like that you love yourself. And then because they're kind of competitive and they could like to view themselves as a more high vibrational person than they are, and they think they put on a really good show, when other people are the more real deal, they don't like it. And they get competitive with their own partners and friends. What's coming up that they don't see coming? The Knight of Pentacles in reverse. They've had some people in their life who have been wanting to invest in them. Friends or family members, romantic interest. And they keep giving these people the benefit of the doubt. Oh no, they're just sad. Oh no, they're just up in a mental prison about these other things that happened in their life. They're just worried about this and that. And they keep trying to offer them love and encouragement. And eventually, some of the people in their life see the truth. that's kind of what they like, for other people to put a lot of work and effort into being loving and encouraging of them. Damn, I love that. It's like, make me the center of attention at Shadowy Leo. Give me all this attention, and oh, I don't care if you feel sorry for me. I don't care if I got to play the self-pity card. I love this. And I'm deceiving all of you people from seeing the truth that really I might be in a mental prison because I had some loving, supportive, encouraging people in my life. But because I kind of indulge my more immature nature or egoic nature or bossy or controlling or whatever nature, those people left. But I'm not telling you the truth. I'm making it sound like maybe poor, poor, pitiful me. And I love this, that everybody's indulging me and making it all about me. And eventually some other people see that they offer these people love and encouragement, but they keep doing the same things and they keep being, how long do you want to be around people who keep playing the poor, poor, pitiful me card? When are they going to get out of that and start putting in work and effort to move forward in their life? And if they're not willing to invest in themselves, eventually people are like, I have given you everything I can. And apparently that isn't your truth. And you might go indulge in these other things or people. Well, I'm going to let you find out if that is your truth or not. And I'm going to take my resources elsewhere. And they might have some people who want to be in a relationship with them that don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore. Because these people have the opportunity to close out a cycle. That's getting to the 10. But between the 2 of Swords and the 3 of Swords, the difference between the 8 and the 7 going to the 10, there's some issues they don't want to deal with. And because they don't want to deal with it, eventually other people see they don't want to deal with the truth. Both the Knight of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles is Virgo energy, about putting in work and effort to deal with the truth and to maybe grow up and heal and love yourself. Other people see that apparently love isn't enough. So I don't know what it is that ever would be enough. They have a loving and encouraging, supportive people in their life. If they were wanting to look at life differently, they would. But they might not want to because this works for them. And they want to keep living their life like that. It's like, well, enjoy your life. You don't want to do love, don't do love. You don't want to learn to love yourself, don't love yourself. You keep thinking people should indulge you, well, you need to find someone who's willing to do it because it's not me. And I don't know if in their Capricorn energy of self, they look like they have a certain status or image. I suppose there's other people who would be willing to stay in a relationship with them for those things, but it might not be for love. It might be because they feel stuck too. They might not have listened to their intuition. They might have made some foolish decisions in a relationship, and they're in a mental prison of believing in themselves and believing in their dreams. So they might kind of be willing to indulge them in a relationship. And then people could feel unloved in a relationship because they're both in a mental prison about love, and they operate more from their defensive, egoic nature, but try to just create the illusion of how wonderful it is when it's not based on truth and love to begin with. So there you go, Capricorn. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.